Professors is brought to you by TrollandToad.com, MTGMintCard.com, CardHorder.com, and Jiffy's Photo and Baseball Cards. Shards of Alara is here and known, and it looks extremely tasty, so have your mouse on the order button at TrollandToad.com, MTGMintCard.com, and CardHorder.com, or support the show and head on down to Jiffy's Photo and Baseball Cards today. Hello everybody and welcome to a new year of Planeswalkin with the Professors. In this new year we're going to take a look back at 2008 of both the Professors and Magic. So let's draw. Oh, 2008. It was the year of living changerously, in which a Pro Tour was killed. The Shards pre-releases might have made everybody go mad, and the new set changes might have just made everybody stop playing Magic. The Professors had tons of episodes and they were ramblematic and indecisive. Wait a minute, is Professor spelled with two F's? Well, while this year couldn't be described as one to smile back on in history, or frown, or even worthy enough to be given a remote glance that could possibly boost its self-esteem enough to make it think itself important enough to be remembered, there were lots of, maybe like 3 good things that came out of this year. First good thing was the Professors. I mean, it was founded, how could that possibly be bad? Okay, well, there are other good like Mythic Rares. No. Well, there are lands and no. Well, the intro packs were, well, hey, they got rid of a Pro Tour, right? So 2008 was, to be fair, not necessarily bad in the world of Magic. It just had certain factors that have yet to be seen how they will take into full effect. So let's take a look back at how the Shards changes actually affected Magic. Now, clearly, the one that we'll all remember is Mythic Rares. And yes, we all know everybody said that they have the potential to be bad, but I don't know. If people have noticed, it turns out that they were actually good. I mean, yeah, at first Sarkhan Vol had everybody scared out of their wits. Elspeth may have just been a bit more expensive than it should have been, and Tezzeret and Lich's Mirror might have just picked the pockets of Type 1 players, but overall everything else was cheap or just plain unnecessary. As put by Patrick Chapin, if Garruk was a Mythic Rare, yeah, it would cost $5 more, but Thoughtseize would be $5 less. This works the same way in Shards because cards like Elspeth were $5 more, cards like Broodmage Dragon, Hell's Thunder, Cruel Ultimatum, heck, even Realm Razor were all cheaper. This, in turn, allowed, despite the smaller sets, tournament players to just buy the single cards they need, as they did anyway, but allows the players like our friend Brian at Jiffy's to buy a couple of cases of Magic cards and foil that green-white aggro deck. Second in this year was the change-up of cards on the booster pack level. First were Planeswalkers. Yeah, I know Planeswalkers are from Lorwyn, which was released in 2007, and they had a decently big effect in Worlds of 2007, but their major effect occurred in 2008, as the Planeswalkers were brought out as their own selves in the form of the tutoring Tezzeret, eager double +1 Elspeth, annoying Ajani that lightning helixed everything you played or kept that one win condition tapped, and the serendipitous Sarkhan Vol that just went crazy over the board in a limited game or could threaten any player, and make their presence quite known. We saw all of these Planeswalkers play correct roles in the metagame as well, as they seamlessly moved into the metagame and played their parts in Fairies, 5-color Control, Kithkin, or even Fellowship of the Rings deck. While not oversaturating decks by having something stupid like an ability like Urza that may have said something like, I get summoned, I own everything. Of course, that's not to say Nicol Bolas and other Planeswalkers that may or may not have been affected by the planar rifts of Future Sight may create this new game state. However, even Nicol Bolas has a casting cost of 8. Second, as for the cards in packs, were tokens and tips and tricks cards. Once again, I know these were added in 10th edition in 2007, but they made their known effects more so when players had gathered the 27 tokens necessary to play their Elf Ball decks, or one Godsire token with the score every Friday night on the back of it, to the point where the cards could be used effectively. The advertisement Wizards had placed could be publicized. Dealers could begin their sales of 100 Sapperling tokens to Sam Black for his Elves deck, and overall everyone who needed to could know more about the game. Of course, when this occurred, players gave Wizards some praise, and yet, when they announced that they'd be taking a common out to replace it with a basic land, many people, myself included, complained about this fact. However, looking back, it doesn't seem all that bad. I mean, seeing how Magic has progressed, and you could have gotten up to 7 lands in your pack of beta, one very pretty basic land, and a token that you could get a few laughs from, or a tips and tricks card for that new player that had no idea that the Declare Attackers phase existed. Packs this way seemed a lot better than that way. So we can only wait to see what Conflux will bring. Speaking of this year, Planeswalkin Professors was one of the best things I can remember from 2008. Let's take a look at all the things that happened in 2008. We first began with the Worlds episode of Worlds 2007 in New York, that, being only an hour or so away, it was easy to get the interviews. Of course, the questions for the interviews, the quality of the interviews, and the editing of the interviews was to be, well, not so good. This crappy quality continued in my shows, episode after episode after episode after episode. Every week I would manage to have some ridiculously large or anomalous amount of information that would have either no importance, copy the magic show, or be false altogether. One week it would be crappy skits, the next crappily composed interviews, the next crappy draft picks, but whatever it was composed of 100% crap. However, around episode 19, there began to appear some validity to not only what the pros had to say, but what I had to question, or my new news style. But whatever it was, there was clearly a more well-composed method of me introducing myself and bringing all of the information I had to offer. Then around episode 20, something really exciting happened. Not only did we start getting featured on MTGcast, which upped our views by nearly tenfold, but I was contacted by Porter Novelli explaining that we'd be able to preview 2 Shadowmoor cards, and of all those cards, Firespout and Advice for the Fae, but that's besides the point. From that point, the show began to blossom, slightly bitterly, at times when I would suggest a new deck innovation, but usually in the better direction with the Shadowmoor pre-release and release, at which time we were able to introduce possibly the best personality of the show, Alex, Queen of the Fae. Then we added a bit more validity to our content and a bit more hilarity as the regional episodes rolled around, Eventide release and pre-release episodes, and even our artist interviews with Randy Gallegos. Things only continued to prosper from there with our new technique of analyzing spoilers for the year by way of Cards and Future Sight, an occasion that will be an absolute blast again this year, and our, more correctly this time, hybrided shows with sealed decks and interviews. And finally, we are brought to today. The World's footage premiered at a total of over 50,000 views. In total across the interwebs, and the questions and answers themselves did what I meant for them to do. They provoked thought. They provoked action. They even provoked tears. And so, to this and many years of Planeswalkin Professors, this is the Card Professor tapped out for now, but we'll be back soon.